Hey guys, what's going on? It's SpyCat. We're on to another favorite actor who I collect, Dustin Hoffman. Anyway guys, Dustin Hoffman is from Los Angeles, California. He's a Leo just like me. He was born August 8th, 1937, which makes him 1 year short of 80 years old. And he's still doing good movies. So I'm going to show you guys all the movies that I have of Dustin Hoffman in my collection, which is, I think, like over 20 movies or something like that. Starting from the earliest movie role, ending with the latest movie that he was in. So without further ado, here's my Dustin Hoffman movie collection. So to get this thing started, the earliest movie that I have that he was in was in 1969, and it's Midnight Cowboy. He did this movie with John Voight. For both of them are a bunch of walking street hookers pretty much in this movie, but it's a good movie. This is a classic movie. This is probably what made him famous besides the movie The Graduate, which came out a couple years before that in 1967. And I have this collector's edition. I think this edition's out of print. It might be worth some money. I haven't even opened this thing yet, and it's a pretty cool edition, actually. I'm glad that I have this in my collection. The next movie I have is Little Big Man, which is one of my favorite Dustin Hoffman movies. This movie right here is, I remember watching this when I was like 12 years old, and I just loved it, man. It was a really good movie. He plays a white guy that's basically was taken by Indians, and he's, you know, pretty much living with the Indians and stuff like that. And then like in this big like war where the white man come and try to kill all the Indians, they look at him and they figure out that he's white, so he kind of he kind of turns on his people and goes with the white people. And then it's a really long movie. I remember this movie is like super long. It's it's 140 minutes, so it's a really long movie. But this is a great movie, man. I love this movie. This is definitely one of my favorite Dustin Hoffman movies, which is why I even have that VHS copy of this movie. Pretty cool cover. I like this one. It's a little beat up, but it's still cool that I have that original CBS Fox video one. And they kept one of the pictures on the DVD, as you can see. So yeah, Little Big Man. Pretty good movie, and that one came out in a year after Midnight Cowboy in 1970. And the next movie I have came out a year after that in 1971, and it's the movie Straw Dogs. It's the unrated version of the movie. It's a really good movie, great thriller movie. I think they did redo this movie like around like 2012 or somewhere in like 2012 or something like that. They redid this movie. It didn't compare to this one, but it was still a good movie. Great thriller movie, really thriller. It says drama, but it's a thriller. Next movie I have came out 2 years after that in 1973, and it's with Steve McQueen, and it's Papillon, however you say that crap. The Greatest Adventure of Escape, and it's about a prison escape. Love those prison escape movies, man. I don't know why I can't say that. Papillon, whatever. I'm going to take forever trying to say that. Next movie I have is the movie Lenny, which is a pretty good movie. I have this one on VHS. This one also came out this one came out a year after that in 1974, and I have the VHS copy of this movie because I couldn't find it on DVD, and haven't even opened this thing. This is like a brand new MGM tape. Might be worth some money. It's actually in black and white too, kind of weird. And 2 years after that, he was in the movie Marathon Man, which is out of print. This one might be worth a little bit of money. I don't know if it's out of print anymore, but when I got it, it was out of print. And like I said, this one came out in 1976. And the next movie I have, I really enjoyed this movie. This is about a guy who just gets out of prison, and he's basically trying to he's trying to do straight time. He's trying not to violate his parole and not go back to prison, but, you know, the odds are kind of against him and stuff like that. So he's just trying to fly straight in this movie and do straight time, I guess you could say. And Straight Time came out 2 years after that in 1978. And next up, Kramer vs. Kramer. This one came out a year after that in 1979. It won a bunch of 5 Academy Awards for this movie. This is a really, really good movie about a guy who has to take care of the kid alone. I think that's what this one's about. Loves his family and his job. Let's see. Confronts him. Yeah, the wife leaves him and then he's stuck taking care of the 6-year-old alone. This movie's so good. I mean, it won 5 Academy Awards, so this is definitely one of the best Dustin Hoffman movies he did. But there's so many good Dustin Hoffman movies. We're just getting started. But that was in 1979. And even this movie's freaking funny. I watched this a couple times already in my life because it's just really, really funny. And it's the movie Tootsie, where he basically, I think he loses his job as an anchorman. So the only way to get his job back is to pretend that he's a female. So Dustin Hoffman playing a female kind of has the whole like Miss Doubtfire kind of comedy to it a little bit. Or the Miss Doubtfire feel to it. Pretty funny movie. Jessica Lange's in this one. And this one came out a couple years after that in 1982. Good movie. And this is definitely another one of my favorite all-time Dustin Hoffman movies. I think the acting he does in this movie is probably the best out of any other Dustin Hoffman movie, in my opinion. And it's Rain Man, where he plays the guy... I forgot what it's called. He plays the autistic brother in this movie of Tom Cruise. Like I said, this is definitely one of the best Dustin Hoffman movies that he ever acted in. But there's so many, it's hard to choose. But that's definitely in my top 3 of the best Dustin Hoffman movies. Acting-wise, it's number 1 for sure for me. But the next movie I have for you guys is Dick Tracy. This movie came out 2 years after... Rain Man, which was 88. So this one came out in 1990, and he plays the character of Mumbles. If you remember, he has a really short part in this movie. He's not in the movie that much. He's only in a couple scenes, but he does a really good job playing Mumbles, the guy who like can't speak. He mumbles all his words and all that. Love that movie. Dick Tracy is awesome. I was really happy when I saw that as a kid. And the next movie I have, he plays Hook in the movie Hook, which is a great movie. This one came out in 1990, a year after Dick Tracy. Great movie, and like I said, he plays a character, Hook. And that's the original cover to that one. Love that cover, man. And also in 1991, he plays the cross-dressing cockroach in A Wish for Wings That Work, which is based on the story. I used to have this book when I was a kid. Next movie I have is Sleepers, which came out a couple years after that in 1996. Well, 5 years after that. In 1996, he was in the movie called Sleepers, where he plays Danny. This one was okay. I didn't really like it that much. Next movie I have, he was in American Buffalo, which is also came out in 1996. This movie was okay. It wasn't the best. That's where he finds the coin, the buffalo coin that's worth money and all that. This movie's pretty good. You know how I love my sci-fi movies, and it's Fear. This movie came 2 years after that in 1998, which I enjoyed this movie a lot. This movie's pretty good. I love my sci-fi movies. Next up, this is definitely one of my favorite Dustin Hoffman movies, Mad City. He plays the news reporter who tries to talk John Travolta down when he takes the whole museum hostage, and there's a school, a field trip of kids from some school that he takes hostage in there, and Dustin Hoffman is like the only person that can talk John Travolta down from letting go all the kids and all that. Great movie, man. I've watched this thing tons of time. Great movie, man. And this one came out a year after that in 1997. This movie is so freaking good. I love this thing. Love this movie, man. And next up, he was in Meet the Fuckers. And this one came out in 2005. This one's pretty good. He plays Ben Stiller's dad in this one. I'm pretty sure. Haven't seen this one in a while, actually. I kind of want to watch this one. That was a great movie, though. And then last but not least, the latest movie that I have that Dustin Hoffman was in was Racing Stripes, which is a pretty good movie. Lots of actors in there. He plays the character of Tucker in this one. David Spade's in this, Mandy Moore, Jeff Foxworthy, Whoopi Goldberg, Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. Tons of people are in here. But yeah, that was my Dustin Hoffman movie collection. On to the next freaking actor. And like I said, the best movies to watch if you want to watch any Dustin Hoffman movie. So now for my personal favorite movies out of the bundle of Dustin Hoffman movies that I just showed you guys. So definitely number one is because the way he acted in this movie, he plays the part of an autistic adult who's living in that institution. He nails the role in this. He should have won way more than one Academy Award for this one. He should have won Best Actor in this because it's really hard to play those parts, and he definitely... This is my number one Dustin Hoffman movie out of all of them. And I would say number two is definitely Kramer vs. Kramer, because this was just a great movie. And then number four, definitely, I loved this movie when I was a kid. Little Big Man, outstanding movie. And Mad City, man. I can't tell you how much I love Mad City. But that was my Dustin Hoffman movie collection, and I showed you guys my personal favorites. Let me know what you guys think about this video, and like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, if you need to go to the bathroom, go now, because I gotta go. See you next time.